Well, sitting across me today is a very successful founder and doctor with multiple dental practice locations. They do millions of dollars in revenue every single year. She and her co-founder and husband found a way to build a business that largely can run without you guys in multiple different locations. And we're going to get into how that's possible on today's episode. And I had your husband on the show, Dr. Raj, and it was a really great episode. Go back and watch it if you haven't listened to it. I mean, just talk about full of insights and tactical and strategies and all types of things, like real things you can apply in your business. It was a great show. And one of the things he mentioned is that you guys, like most co-founders and husband and wives, you guys have your strengths and weaknesses. And he mentioned that one thing that you were really good at is you're a process-driven person, the queen of systems and workflows, as we say. So by the end of this, we're going to show you guys some of those insights that, more than just an SOP, like how to really build out those systems and processes, and just some of the insights and the things that you've learned from going through the process as well. So Dr. Anushka Gaglani, founder and co-CEO of Areo Dental Group, welcome to the Founder Talk podcast. How are you feeling?
Great. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm very excited.
Excited to have you. And I appreciate you actually bringing me some homemade cookies. Even though I'm trying to watch my figure, those will get eaten. And I have 2 daughters too, so between the 4 of us, we're going to eat the shit out of those.
I figured you could share with somebody.
Mm-hmm. They look good too. So you and Raj, obviously you and Dr. Raj are dentists and co-founders of, you have multiple different practices, and then you've kind of got the operating system as the business that manages over it all. But I want to take the audience back because you guys have built something incredible today, but let's take us back because it seems like you guys actually found success pretty early on. And I know there's no like overnight success, but you guys bought a business and then in the first year quadrupled the revenue.
Correct.
How? That sounds kind of crazy, right?
Yeah. So it was a practice that was not doing very well, right? The owner, to be very fair, was in his 60s and he was very tired. He probably should have sold a few years before.
He was a dentist, dental office, right?
He was a dentist,
Yep.
yes. But he waited.
Okay.
And, we just did a few things, honestly. I think we were just young and hungry. We remodeled. We put in some technology. We put in intraoral photos. And we just started educating patients on the treatment that they needed. And they started accepting it. I think it was actually a pretty simple formula for success.
Simple, but maybe not easy.
Yeah.
Do you think that the dentist or the business owner was just kind of set in their ways and hadn't really adapted over time? Like, what were some of the adoptions that, if you were just advising him maybe before you took it over, what would you have said? Hey, you need to change this. You need to adapt and learn.
That's a great question. I think what happens with a lot of business owners, the stats on businesses, right? The majority of small businesses in America fail. And that's because they're not really reinvesting in their own business. Everything is, how can we pull out as much cash as possible? Now, cash flow is important. We do have to pay ourselves. But if you want to grow, you really have to reinvest some of your cash. And that's the advice I would give them is, number one, keep up with the times, right? Things change, technology changes, and you do have to invest back into it.
So what were some of the big changes? I think Raj mentioned some of the technology stuff, but what were some of the things that you guys like specifically invested back in and put that cash back into, some of the changes you made to modernize the business?
Yeah. The first thing, again, it was almost a hoarding situation. There was a ton of stuff in there. The basement, it was kind of a funny story. The basement was filled with like 35-year-old invoices. And I remember going in there and it was our first practice, right? And we just spent all this money and I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, like how am I going to get all this stuff out? I went 3 weekends in a row to try to clean it out myself. And I probably got through like 4 inches of it.
Oh my God.
So we finally found somebody. We got him to haul everything away.
Nice.
And we hired a company to just rehaul the entire place, renovate, because one of the complaints we'd heard from patients who stayed back was they didn't feel it was very sanitary when they had been seeing him. So we went ahead and just renovated the entire thing, made it nice and shiny and new. Computers, software, everything was paper charts. So we kind of put in a PMS system. And
etched your name in stone, just like,
welcome
to the practice.
Exactly. It was a truly old school practice.
Yeah.
Digital sensors. At that time, we had a pan. When we started doing implants, we put in a CBCT.
Okay.
And intraoral photos were really the main things. And of course, TVs in every operatory so we could show patients what we were looking at.
So I want to ask about that. But before, if I was listening to this episode, and even me, I'm curious, like what made you buy that business? Like all these crazy things and like outdated. I'm like, why not just start your own practice? What would make you even want to buy that business in the first place?
Starting a dental practice, it can be quite expensive when you have to do all the plumbing yourself in the operatories. So we were looking for something that didn't necessarily have a ton of patients already, but we kind of wanted the bones of the building. And really the biggest expense is in putting in that plumbing and those operatories. So we wanted something that was easier to kind of just not necessarily turnkey, but just make some adjustments and be able to run with it. But to be honest, we were not very sophisticated back then. I remember we drove in
How
to
long
the
ago is
parking
this?
lot. This was almost 10 years ago.
Okay.
Almost
Yeah.
10 years
That's,
ago.
that's like 100 years in entrepreneur world. You know, like what you learn so
That's
fast.
exactly it. Yeah, we drove in the parking lot. We were like, this looks nice. And that was it.
Yeah.
We bought it.
Were you worried about the brand? You know, like people would think of that practice and think, oh, it's not sanitary. It's kind of run down. They're not. Now you guys got to completely transform the brand into something new.
You know, to be honest, I don't think there was much of a brand. I think what we have found in looking at practices over the years is many patients, many prospective clients don't even know that there's a dentist there. The signs are small, the building doesn't look that great. So it's more about kind of flipping it and now starting the branding where people start to realize there's actually a dentist here. One of our other practices, people drove by and they were like, we didn't even know there was anything here until we bought it and put a sign up and started flipping things around.
So to quadruple the revenue, did you still do it with one dentist? Did you have to hire more people? Because that's like a pretty instant. In 1 year, you've quadrupled the revenue. That to me is like there was an existing population of patients or clients, if you want to call them. So obviously you tried to retain those if they were good ones, and then you had to grow, 4 times past that. So what did that look like?
It was honestly just the two of us, and we would alternate days. I believe, thinking back, I think Fridays we used to work together. But otherwise, we alternated days, and we both kept our associateships for a while. But yeah, that was pretty much it. We were just young and hungry. We educated ourselves on how to get patients to accept treatment. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I always do. But dentistry is sales. I don't know how else to explain it. Dentists hate the word selling. They think it's such a bad word. I think sales is about helping people. If they don't know what they're going to get, they're not going to accept your service.
I think that's what it comes down to is how do you define the word sales? Because if it's selling something that someone doesn't really need or trying to make a commission and that's really all you're in it for, then that sales doesn't feel good to anyone, right? But if it's sales to you is making an impact as to helping people find the right solutions for them and helping them make the best decisions, well, then that's a win. Why do people not like when you say that?
Dentistry is traditionally, I think it comes from dental school. They're just like, oh no, we don't sell, we're doctors. And yes, absolutely right, we're doctors, right? But that's the thing. I think most people, when they think the word sales, they're thinking about, the car salesman from like, I don't know, Matilda, right? That dad. That's what they're thinking. And that's very fair because that's what we've been told sales is. But, we're kind of flipping that narrative. We're teaching our new dentists, like, we are going to use the word sales here and you're going to get comfortable with it. You can call it education, call it whatever you want. Right. You're selling.
Yeah, that's a great point. So you mentioned that you guys, some of the technology differences that you guys brought in, and then also just kind of that has to do with that, because Raj mentioned the same thing too. He said, I think it was intraoral cameras. Yep. But even if you don't know that technical word, if you're not a dentist, or if you are, you do. But in my mind, it's educating the patients. It's allowing them to see what's happening, understand what's going on. Because we've all been in dental chairs, I have, and they're doing stuff. Even the hygienist might be doing stuff, or they bring out a new tool and it's like, what the hell is this? And like, I got to ask what this is. You should be telling me what you're doing in my damn mouth, Yes. So talk to me about how that was a difference maker, and how did the current patients react to some of this stuff?
The thing with intraoral cameras and technology is it's not like direct ROI, right? Sometimes there's not like a direct impact, but there is an indirect impact. Now with intraoral cameras, I do think there's a direct impact.
What are they, by the way, just to be clear on
that? So an intraoral camera just essentially hooks up to your computer and you can take pictures of the oral cavity of the teeth and whatnot with it, and then blow it up on the big screen TV in front of the patient and they can see what's happening. I think what it is, traditionally dentists have told patients, you need a crown, and that's it. And the patient's just sitting there like, why do I need a crown? I don't understand, right? So what we do instead, what we teach our dentists is, first you address their chief complaint, then you co-diagnose. And what's co-diagnosis? That means that you're pulling up the photo. A lot of dentists like to pull up x-rays. Patients cannot read x-rays, right?
Exactly. We're like, I don't know what this means.
Let's pull up the photo. I know now with, with Detect AI, which is AI on x-rays, it's easier to do. But when we first started, that didn't exist. So you're pulling up the photo, and what we're doing is we're getting the patient on the same page as us, right? We're helping them understand if they if we see something and they're not on the same page and they don't know that that's the reality, they're never going to accept the treatment. So first we align on what it is that we're seeing. And then we go into consequence. What's the consequence of not treating this? And finally, what's the solution?
That's good. I think the other thing too is the same day dentistry. Is that, Rob? And you kind of mentioned that with the sales aspect of like, you know, if someone needs treatment, try and get it done that day if you can, or as soon as possible. Don't drag it out, or don't, I don't want to seem salesy, so I don't want to tell them they should probably get this cavity filled as quickly as possible. I'm going to let them make the decision. I'm the doctor. I don't want to influence them. And the reality is, if you're trying to do right by them, you would influence them, right?
100%. You know, some of the training we do with our new dentists, they come out with that kind of mindset. And I always ask them the same question. I ask them 2 questions. I say, if it was your mom and your mom had a mouthful of cavities, would you say, no problem, Mom, we'll take care of them, you know, in 3 years? Of course not. You'd be like, no, you have to take care of it right now. If they had gum disease, take care of it right now. What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
So why are we treating patients differently?
Yeah. I've even thought that in my own business recently, where I'm like, I'm not asking enough people, like if they need my services, or letting people, even on the podcast, I'm like, I can tell people what I do at the end and it's fine. You know, or I can mention it in some more posts and stuff like that. It's almost like you get in this world of like, I don't want to be that guy or gal. Yeah. But it's like you're missing opportunities, and someone else that's just asking, or just saying, hey, I would recommend this, or this might be a good option for you, or this is probably something you want to get done soon, like today. Instead of dragging it out, and it just doesn't help them or you.
That's right. It's just perceived value, right?
Right. Did you guys, when you first bought this practice, this is your first practice you buy, did you think it would turn into multi-practices? You're going to have this dental management company, or are you just thinking, hey, we're just going to be dentists and like hopefully run a great practice?
You know, it's funny. I actually, you know, I'd been practicing for a couple of years already, and I was getting tired. So I told Abhishek, he had just started practicing, or he'd been a year in, and I pressured him. I said, I can't do this anymore. We have to open a practice, right? And I personally, I didn't necessarily think we were going to go past that. I know Abhishek did, though. He had come out of dental school saying, we're going to open multiple practices. So really, I have to give him the credit for all that. Nice. It was him. But once we got on that path, it was just so exciting that it's a good thing we aligned on it very quickly.
Well, he did mention on the show that he's kind of more of the visionary person. I think he sets the vision or something, and then you're good at following through. We'll get into some of that later. But so I saw you do a LinkedIn post, because we're talking about, you know, as you grow the practice, you know, really, if you think about it, whether you're an IT firm, a staffing and recruiting firm, marketing agency, financial firm, dental office, if you're getting new customers or new patients, clients, you've got to essentially pull them away from other vendors or service providers. In most cases, some people have never had your service, but in most cases, they've had some form of what you do. Yeah. And you're like, you got to get them out of that and into what you guys do. And sometimes that's tricky. And you did a LinkedIn post. You said one of the biggest mistakes vendors make is assuming they're competing on price. They're not. They're competing against switching cost. Explain to us what that means and why that's so important for entrepreneurs to know.
Yeah. So vendors, it's not about just trying to get the lowest price, right, for your potential customer. I think that definitely plays a role. Every dollar matters, especially in growth mode. But the goal is to get your client so happy that they are not going to move on to someone else, right? So from an entrepreneur's perspective, the way I'm thinking of it is it costs a lot of money for me in training people, in getting everything onboarded, and really just the time that it's going to take away from the other things we could be doing to move from one vendor to another. So my purpose behind that post was to say, if I'm happy with a vendor and they're doing a good job for me, and I'm going to save $10 with a different vendor, I'm probably not going to switch, right? That's not the reason to switch, unless they can offer me something that's so incredible that I'm not only saving money, but I'm also getting so much more out of that relationship.
So what has been the secret for you guys to making clients or patients so happy that they don't want to switch? And then I want to ask about the other side, is how do you get people to see that maybe there's a better way, and maybe that the current service is not good, and get them to switch, whether you're running ads or whether you're just, you know, having conversations or referrals or whatever it might be.
So I think in dentistry, the best way is word of mouth, right? You have to give them a good patient experience. And what that means is you'd be surprised to know the majority of dental offices, the average missed call rate is something like 37%. It is really very high. It's very high. I think it might be getting better because people are becoming more aware of it.
So 100 calls come in, they miss 37 of them?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yeah. So now the patient, I mean, I don't know how you are, but for me, if I'm calling a business and they don't answer my call and I'm not getting a call back immediately,
Yeah.
I've moved on to the next business already,
Yeah.
right? So that's number one, is just giving them that good experience as far as answering the phone. Number two is be able to answer their questions, right? A lot of patients will call and they won't get answers as far as it's kind of beating around the bush. Do you accept my insurance? Why are we beating around the bush? Let's be honest. We accept it. We don't accept it. We're in network. We're not, right? If we're not in network, we can help you in X way, right? We have payment plans. We have financing options, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Once they come in, it's just, again, showing them compassion, treating them with compassion, and I'm here to help you. So our dentists really have to be on board. Our dental assistants, our front desk, they all have to be on board with giving that patient that great experience. And then once they have that great experience, asking for a 5-star review.
Again, you got to ask for it, right?
You have to ask for it. If you don't ask for it, patients aren't going to find you. And that's exactly how we position it, because that's the truth is, do you mind leaving us a 5-star review so other patients can find us?
Do you have them do it right then and there while they're there?
As much as possible, yes, because
pull up an
people
iPad
are busy.
Or something? You pull up an iPad or computer and just say, hey,
we have them do it on their phone.
Okay.
We just send them a link and they do it on their phone.
Okay.
Yep.
I love that. I think that's just, again, it's, you got to ask or you're not going to receive it in a lot of cases, you know? You got to get it. So, and if they're happy with the service, they're probably going to gladly leave you the review.
Exactly. And then follow up by saying, do you have any family or friends? We love patients like you and we want more family and friends like you.
Yeah, it's great. If you're trying to, let's go in the other way. If you're trying to maybe run ads or maybe have sales conversations around getting people to switch from their current provider to working with you guys for any business, what type of levers are you pulling on? Like maybe I'm a dentist listening to this right now. I own my own practice. Maybe I'm an entrepreneur, a service-based business. And I'm trying to get people to understand and see that there's a better way. Like, because maybe you'll come into your guys' practice. It's like, whoa, this is amazing. I get treated great. The experience is awesome. But I'm just used to the practice or business I'm at. And maybe it sucks, but I don't really know that there's another way. How do you kind of pull some of those things out, whether it be in marketing or sales or?
Yeah, I think it's just educating them on what you can provide, right? So figuring out what your mission statement is and advertising that on your website and your ads. So for us, it's same day care, right? People are busy. They don't want to keep coming back all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And flexible payment plans and evening and weekend appointments, right? So that's an easy sell for us because so many dentists are like, I'm closed on Fridays and after 3 p.m. on Thursdays, I'm going golfing. And it's like, that's great. Like no judgment for that. If that works for you, absolutely. Some people want more of that balance and I totally get that. But for us, like our patients where we are, they work long hours and they want those evening hours. They want those weekends. So that really works well for us. So you have to kind of figure out what it is that's missing in your market, what your competitors don't have, and then offer that.
So you're opening up a new practice in a new area you've never been in, let's say. New business for those that don't have practices. What are the top 3 ways you're going to win new patients, new clients? Referrals you mentioned could be one. If there's existing people you can pull from for new people coming in, what would maybe be the next 1 or 2 you'd say?
So definitely, again, referrals, number 1, family and friends. And then number 2, I think would be Google ads.
Okay.
I would say are a big one.
Yeah.
And then grassroots marketing. It's just going out of the community.
Yeah, that's so underrated, I think. Yeah. Now, the referrals, do you, because I try to get better at asking referrals. I got to remind myself every week, every call, dude, ask for some damn referrals. You know what I mean? You're doing great work. The clients are happy. Like, ask them who else they know. And the same for when people come on the show. I try to do a pretty good job of that.
For sure.
Do you guys have a method for getting more referrals?
Yeah. The instructions we've given to our team. Now, I will be honest, as you scale multiple practices, you're not watching what everybody's doing. So that's the difficult part, is getting them to really do it. The way to get them to do it is put incentives in place for certain parameters, certain KPIs that we're tracking. But it's just saying, hey, you're a great patient. How do we get more of you? Is anyone? Do you have a sibling? Do you have your wife, your husband, whoever? And my favorite thing is actually moms when they come in. They come in, they're almost like they come in as the guinea pig and they see how it is. And if you give them a great experience, they will bring their entire family in.
Nice. And in most cases, why are they switching? Why are they coming in? Because obviously they've had dental work before, checkups before. Why are they typically coming into a new practice? What are some common, maybe 1 or 2 top reasons you see that they'd be coming into your guys' when they've had their teeth cleaned before, so they've had a current dentist that they've been to?
The first reason probably is billing issues. When they feel like they haven't gotten transparent billing, they will switch over. Now that I will say can be a little tough, especially when you're dealing with insurance, because insurance is, we're kind of like the third party. It's really between the insurance and patient. And then the second reason is likely going to be around what services we can provide. Patients don't like to go to a lot of dentists. Like they'll be really good at being able to do cleanings and fillings and a couple crowns, but then as soon as it comes to my child or orthodontics or getting my wisdom teeth out, suddenly we're rushing them all over the place, and people don't like that, right? They want to be able to go to one place and be able to get their work done.
Yeah. And you mentioned like getting the team on the same page, where the team's creating a great customer service or patient experience. How do you get your culture to create a great experience across the board when you can't be there with them every second of the day?
Yeah. So the culture only exists when you're not there. Like if you're watching, it's not a real culture, right? So it is very difficult. It takes time. Number one is having core values. So we have core values, and it's not just a poster on the wall. We hire, we let go. Like that's how we live. That's how we exhibit ourselves as well. What we really do is we tell people, we shout people out. Let me put it that way. We shout people out if they are fitting the core values, and we publicly shut them out for it. So they know, like if they're reaching the review limits or whatever we've put in place for them, as long as they're getting those, we're like, great job to this person, that person. The second is incentives. There is someone, and I forgot who said this, and I really want to give him credit, but it was someone I met at a conference. He said people's favorite radio station is WIAFM. What's in it for me?
That's good.
And I love that. That's so stuck
true.
with me.
Yeah.
Because how do we get them to do it is by incentivizing them and getting them to understand this is not just for us, this is for you as well.
What are some of the incentives that you would create?
We have a monthly and a quarterly incentive for reviews. So we say, we put a goal in place and we say, if you hit these review numbers, the practice gets X amount to be able to use towards, something authorized, like whether it's a dinner out with everybody, bowling, whatever it is.
I think you're spot on with the culture thing. It's like, and it's easier said than done, but it's like you really got to live it.
Yeah.
Because I've created, early on when I was a newer entrepreneur, I'd like, we got core values and like, these are the things. You talk about them one time in a meeting and then it just like never shows up.
Yeah.
And you have to constantly like brand it in people's mind. And to your point, when someone does something really good, tie it back to the value, tie it back to the pillar. When something goes out of control or not the right way, you bring it back to hey, this isn't the standard, this isn't the gold standard, whatever we have in place. And that's ultimately, I think, and then I think to your point, you really know it's going well when employees and other people start bringing it up.
Yes.
Say, this is a good example of our core here. This is not a good example of this. This is not what we do here. Yeah. That's when you know it's really working. Because it's easy when you're around, it's like, everyone's like, all right, like do the thing the boss wants.
Exactly.
But when you're gone and you see people doing that or giving shout outs, that's when you kind of know.
Yeah, when they shout each other out, that's my favorite thing because they know what the core value is.
That's right. It's super clear. It's clear, and then you just got to live it.
Yeah.
One of the most impressive things about you guys as co-founders, husband and wives, dentists, is that you guys really have built a business that can largely run without you. I want to know how you guys did that. I know the audience does too. Before we get into that segment though, if you guys are listening right now and you're getting value from this, you're enjoying the conversation, you're liking what you're hearing, please like, subscribe, follow, make sure you don't miss other episodes like this, and allows us to get awesome guests on like our guest today. So see, you always got to ask. You always got to ask. Now see, that was something, to be honest, and I'll be transparent for a second with you guys and vulnerable. That was something I didn't do like the first 95 episodes.
Oh my gosh. And
finally, my podcast manager was like, dude, you need to start asking people to like and follow. I was like, I just don't want to, it's like, if they like it, they'll do it. It's like, they won't though.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them will. Thank you guys that are like subscribing, following. But sometimes you're listening to something and it's like, hey, if you wouldn't mind, if you're getting value from this, hit the button. And people are like, cool, I'll do that. It takes 2 seconds. It costs you nothing. And it supports one of your favorite shows.
Exactly.
So you got to ask, to your point. So let's get to that part, because I see you guys traveling. I see you're getting your MBAs. I see, just busy doing a bunch of things, but the businesses and the practices seem to largely run without you guys being the bottleneck of them. What is the key to building a business that can run without you as the business owner?
Number one is, as the founder or the owner, don't be the bottleneck. And I know it's very easy to be the bottleneck. We want to hang on to everything. We want to say, only I can do this well. Only I can make all the decisions. We have to be able to hire the right people who we can trust, put them in the right seats, and then let them own it, trust but verify. And you're going to get probably 80% as well as you would do it, but there's no way to scale if you're going to expect 100 from everybody.
That is a very harsh reality that you have to learn, and you have to just say, this is how it's got to be.
Yeah.
Or we're not going to be able to your point, we're not going to be able to take this thing to the next level. It'll always be me.
Yeah.
What is the reason you think business owners, founders, dentists want the control? They want to keep things tight to them. I mean, I think there's a couple different reasons, but I'm curious from your perspective, why does that even happen? Why is that a thing?
I think there's a lot of fear behind it. I think they think if they release it, that it will just, everything's going to come like fall apart and everything's going to come crashing to the ground, which I will be honest, once in a while you hire the wrong person and it does happen, but you just have to rebuild it, right? That's where the trust but verify comes in.
Yeah, I think I've talked to a lot of founders and I've heard some say they like having the control, like they kind of, it's maybe an ego thing or whatever it is. And I never really, I don't know how you felt, I never really identified with that. I wasn't like, I want control of everything. Like it makes me feel good as my identity. I always just felt like it was hard for me to pass down my knowledge. And I thought about the clients, like what if it's not good enough work for them, or I better jump in here and do this because I don't want to mess up for the clients. It was never like I wanted the control.
Yeah.
But so I'm curious if you and your husband are different on this, or if you guys have similar, I'd be curious to get your perspective on that. Like when you've struggled with that, where is the deep-rooted issue coming from, do you think?
I think so. When I personally struggled with it was when we started pulling back from being dentists, right? Because we had our patients for years and years and years. And all of a sudden, we hired an associate with us. And we're like, you're going to start seeing some of these patients now. And the patients were just losing it. They're like, no, I want to see you. I want to see you. And initially there is an ego boost, right? You're like, oh, they want to see me. Good. I must be really good, right?
It does feel good,
But, yeah, it does. But really it's like comfort. The patients are just comfortable with you. That doesn't mean that the other person is not good. It's just that they're comfortable with you. So I had to learn how to kind of release it and say, no, if I am stuck doing this, I'm doing a disservice to the rest of the business. And that's when we had to kind of, that's what clicked for me is I'm not able to focus on the people in my business. I'm not able to help more people because I'm stuck here with this one person doing this one thing.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's not serving you and it's not serving anybody around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, people are just probably nervous to make any type of change.
That's right.
It's like, oh, if they're not going to be as good, what if they're, how did you pass down the tribal knowledge? Like that's one thing I've always struggled with. Like how do you, it's like, they're going to be able to do it the way, and of course they're not going to be able to do it the exact way you do, nor would you want them to. They're going to do it their own way.
Right.
But how did you kind of pass down some of the most important things to the person taking over?
Number one is documenting, right? I know a lot of founders, we like to have everything in our head, but I've tried to read minds and I still can't. So they can't either.
Still can't do it.
Yeah. So number one is documenting everything, putting it down in an easy to read format. And maybe making video clips. That's also helpful because everybody learns differently. Once we do that, onboarding the person, right? It's super, super important to onboard people and give them a very regimented process to go through where they feel comfortable that, okay, I can handle this role at this point. Check-ins, first week, first month, quarterly, and then annually after that. We want to do the check-ins and, kind of repeated coaching. As an example, our VP of operations, we have a same page meeting with her once a week on top of our leadership meeting that we have with our whole leadership team.
We're going to get into the process stuff in a little bit too. So I want to dive in a little bit more in detail there. What else is a hurdle that comes up for a business owner or a dentist operator, whatever it is, from being the bottleneck and not being able to expand past themselves and have a business that runs without them? You mentioned, hey, the founder can kind of, hey, I've got all the knowledge. I don't want to pass this down. I'm worried if I let someone else do it, it's going to fail. What's maybe another big one you see or that you struggled with?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think on that.
Maybe there isn't one.
Yeah, I really think that's the biggest one. I think probably another one is just stagnation, like not continuing to educate oneself and be curious. I think that's probably another big one is it's really, you reach a certain level of success.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, the person you were to get to that level of success does not mean that's not the same skills that you would need to get to the next level. So I think it's important to keep learning and growing where you can be the person to lead that future organization.
Did you guys ever get to a point where you feel like, because I think there's I don't know if you experience this, but as an entrepreneur, and maybe people that have careers feel this way too, you kind of you get excited about something, you have a big vision or mission, you accomplish that, you get there. Maybe it's like quitting your job or leaving the practice to go start your own thing. And then that becomes successful. And then you're kind of, to your point, you're kind of stagnating a little bit and you're like, is this it? And then you kind of have that moment where you look in the mirror and you go, is this what I want this to be? Or is there more to it? Was this just like the first chapter? Do you think about that at all? Do you guys ever talk about that or?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. We're always thinking about like what's next, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's I think it's important to keep wondering what's next.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because there's also like a certain point where it's like, am I just doing the next thing because I should do the next thing because society wants me to do the next thing?
Yeah.
Or like that's the entrepreneurial thing would be to grow another business or expand or grow.
Yeah.
But it's also like I think about that sometimes. I'm like, man, we've come a long way. I sometimes have to like go back to when I first started my business and have that almost like naivete or what do they call it? Blissfulness, just like you kind of ignorant, blissful. Like you're just kind of like, we're going to do it. We're going to go big and we're going to create this awesome thing. And I think, I don't know, for some reason at a certain point, maybe I'm just speaking to myself right now, but I feel like you get to a certain point, you do have some success. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like that grand ambition sometimes can get like just tapered off. Yeah. And it feels like you need another thing to kind of, not because you just want to chase something else, but because you're like, I think I have more potential than this. Like, I think I can make a bigger impact than this. I want to stay fulfilled and excited about what I'm doing. Yeah. And I know people listening are going to resonate at least partially with that, at least at one place or another in their journey. I was just curious if you guys got to that place. Like, maybe it's now, maybe it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, where you're like, is there more than this? Or do you guys keep going regardless?
I think that's such a great point because you really have to know what it is you want. You have to know what your end goal is. And that doesn't mean that, look, we started off with, we're going to open one practice. Then it turned into, now it's going to be multiple practices. Now it's okay, we're still growing. But for us, we've made the determination that as long as it's fun for us, we're going to keep doing that. But it has to be about what we want, not about what society wants. I think that's an important distinction.
That is. And what makes you guys happy to continue doing this? Like, what about it is exciting? Because you could easily, how many practices you guys have?
We're at 8 now.
8? You could easily be like, hey, 8's awesome. Yeah. Most people only have 1 or don't have any, to be honest. So like, we've got 8 times what the average person has, and even the average person is doing pretty well. Yeah. We could just, why not just make these 8 practices amazing, and then that's our thing. Yeah.
I mean, we're obviously still working on really maximizing them, but I think what it comes to is, it's all internal, right? When you look at the studies, I think there was a big study that was done, and they said that people at the end of their lives, they don't regret what they did do, they regret what they didn't do, what dreams they had that they didn't achieve or accomplish. So whenever I get a little bit complacent and I'm like, oh, I've reached success, I think about that. I'm like, but would I be happy with this? When I'm 90, am I going to be like, I achieved everything I set out to do? And the answer right now is no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like sometimes you got to remind yourself, hey, continue thinking big. Yeah. Like and maybe there's people out there listening that have built a $20 million company, and maybe for them it's like, that's amazing if you've done that. Yeah. But maybe for them it's like, I want to do so much more, or I want to impact the world in a different way, or I want to start this organization, or I want to do these different things. And I always try to remind myself and the people that listen is like, always stay dreaming big. Yeah. But to your point, very important point, bring it back to why am I doing it? And is it really for me and what I want to do, and it's going to serve my purpose, my fulfillment, my happiness? Or is it just, I got to scale to the next 10 million just because I think that's what I should do, or an investor told me to? That's exactly it. I know someone, he's a big investor. He's very, very successful. His sister is a teacher, and she absolutely is thrilled with her life. So it just, again, it depends on what fulfills you. That's right. Yeah. How was it getting your MBA? Are you guys still going through that process? We're still in the MBA. Is it worth it to get your MBA, do you think? So I actually really love the MBA, and a couple of reasons, right? I think as dentists in particular, we're in a dental office and we're a lot of times the smartest one in the room. So then you start to go out in the world and you think you're the smartest person in the room. Mm-hmm. You get in a room like this and there are so many brilliant people. It is so humbling, and that is so good. I don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room, ever. So it's just been great. We still have another year left, and I'm learning so much. I'm meeting so many great people. I'm very excited to be there. It's interesting because I wonder, I'm like, I always think of like, maybe I have like I don't think school's like the greatest, like the education system, I think just needs a lot of work. I think we all can agree that. But I think about the MBA and those programs, and I'm like, isn't that for people that like didn't go out and build businesses? And you guys did. So like coming into this, like you guys actually lived the shit that they're talking about. Yeah. But it sounds like there's still value from being a part of the group and learning things that, maybe are a little bit more textbook. Yeah. There's so much more value than I think. And a lot of people, actually pretty much everybody except for one person told me, why are you getting an MBA? Like, don't even bother. Really? Yeah. Yeah. And the only person who told me to go ahead and get it was someone who went to the same school and got an MBA. So I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to the person who's gone through this. Done it? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think there's so much value. The way I look at things is
whatever I do, whatever courses I take, I will get something out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, your outlook going into it and what you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
You guys are co-CEOs.
Yeah.
How does that work? Because I've never even heard of that before. Usually it's like, there's co-founders, but then one person's CEO, one person's COO or whatever it is.
Yeah.
How does it work to be a co-CEO?
So the thing is, I think, I know Abhishek had talked to about, we run an entrepreneur operating system, EOS. And when we first started, we knew that we wanted to have equal decision-making power. Now, when I say equal decision-making power, I don't mean that we're both fighting each other on one decision. Within the confines of EOS, we're both visionaries, but in different things.
Okay.
So we wanted to be on equal footing, but we run different parts of the business, if that makes sense. And it works very well for us.
And what do you take versus what does he take?
Yeah, he's more, he's great. He's very extroverted. He likes to drive out to practices. He has conversations with doctors. He's very good at negotiations. And for me, I think I've been more kind of on the branding side and on making sure that our existing business is operating as it should. So that's how we're kind of dividing and conquering.
That makes sense. When you go to a buy, because I know you guys acquire other businesses or other dental practices, right? Obviously, you've got 8 of them. What do you look for when you go to acquire a business or a practice? What are some of the things? And I'm curious for other people maybe out there that want to acquire businesses, but also for the people that are building their business to be sold one day.
Yeah.
What are some of the aha moments that you have, or some of the top things you'd look for in a business?
Cash flow. I know we talk about EBITDA. EBITDA is important, but also what's the cash flow going to be after we buy this business? Are we going to be able to make some sort of profit? Who are the key players, right? Is there key man risk? For example, in a dental practice, you have your dentist. When the dentist leaves, if it's an expensive practice, we don't know. A lot of patients there tends to be attrition of patients. So we've got to be careful with all of that. Paying attention to who else is in the practice, right? As far as who is the other staff. Sometimes it's like the dentist's sister. It's like the front desk. And then, the assistant is like his cousin. It's like, you've got to be careful with that, right?
Okay.
If one person leaves, everyone's going to leave. What is the current setup like in terms of, what's the equipment like? Is it in good condition? So, I think there's quite a few things we look at. But I think probably the most important thing, which I don't want to leave out, is this person, if we're going to keep them on, are they going to be a good partner? Are they a good person that we can reason with? I think that's probably the most important thing.
Is it common for the dentist to stay on with you guys when you acquire a practice, or is it 50-50? Or
it depends. If it's a lower cost practice, the one that's not doing maybe as well as it should, then we'll generally let the dentist go because we're comfortable enough that we can market and bring patients in. When it's a more expensive practice and that dentist really has a name in that area, then we might keep them on for about 24 months while we continue to grow it, just so they can help transition patients to the new doctor.
Okay. I know you said you guys are going to keep doing this as long as you're enjoying it and the process and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll sell the company one day, though, if you had to look forward in 5, 10, 20, whatever it is, years?
Yeah, it's hard to know, right? That's the thing. I got very good advice from a mentor, and that mentor said build to sell. So we're always building as though we're going to sell, but hey, if everything's going well and it's actually generally, there's no such thing as passive income in owning a business. I will be clear about that. But as long as it's 90% running itself, we can continue to keep it.
Yeah, why not, right? Because you're probably going to sell it and then go build something else anyways, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I saw you did a LinkedIn post. You said one of the best pieces of advice from one of my mentors, and maybe that was the person you're referencing before, Adam, is that selling your business isn't the finish line. In many ways, it's just the beginning. What does that mean to you?
So Adam is a wonderful, wonderful mentor. He wrote the private equity playbook, and that's where I kind of started to get interested in learning more about business. But what that means to me is, in the terms that he's talking about, when you sell your business, if you sell it to a private equity, that is not, now I get to just take my foot off the brake and relax if you want to remain the CEO. Now they're going to expect you to kick into high gear because now they've just paid you all this money and they expect a return on their investment. And that's really what that means in a nutshell.
So, but if you guys take it over, that's different than private equity in certain ways, or is it very similar in terms of, hey, if you're going to stay in the practice, things are going to change, might be a little challenging, and it's not like you're going to just, sit on the beach or work 2 days a week, unless they leave the practice, unless you're buying it and you're going to put another dentist in, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. There are expectations, right? Because again, we're buying that business, we're paying all this money. Now, if you are going and sitting on the beach, our cash flow is going to tank.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly.
that's not what we paid for.
Because now you got to replace their salary with somebody else, right? Yeah.
Exactly right.
Okay. So one of the things of building a business that can run without you, you mentioned, is systems and processes. And I want to spend a little bit of time on there. If I'm a business owner right now, an operator, and I'm saying, why do I need to focus so much on systems and processes? And maybe they have, everyone's got some level of SOPs or systems and processes.
Yeah.
Why is it so critical? Like, other than the obvious, hey, you need a process for someone to follow. In your experience, why has it been like just night and day difference when you have good systems and processes?
When you have good systems and processes, you will not be bogged down by people asking you the same questions again and again. In my experience, what will happen is people will reach out. And when you are we're not huge, but we have enough scale that if I'm getting the same question from 5 different people and I keep answering that question, it is taking my attention and time away from the growth of the business. So I think in a nutshell, that's what I would say is it helps others be able to function in your absence. And it helps make them more self-reliant. Repeatability, you can scale with systems and processes. Now, as we scale, we've realized our systems and processes may change because what worked at 2 practices doesn't work at 8. It's not going to necessarily work at 20. So that's one thing.
How many people do you guys have now?
We have 60 something in the U.S. and then we have a team in the Philippines as well.
Wow, that's a good sized company. Yeah, it's interesting to say when you're just like, oh, it's not huge. It's like for a lot of people that is huge, but it's not yet. There's obviously massive companies out
Correct,
there.
Yeah.
What if it's something subjective? Because that's something we struggle with. My team is like, we have a system, we have a process, we have the SOP, but then it comes to a point where it's like you kind of got to make a judgment call. Like, for example, if I'm teaching my team how to pull clips from a podcast episode.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, these are the 3 things that we do to pull a clip. Step 1 is this, step 2 is this, step 3 is this. And there's a little bit of judgment in there. Yeah. How do you kind of work through those types of things in the overall process?
Yeah. The first thing is hire smart people who can understand the gray, right? Because a lot of these things require you to be able to live in the gray and not just black and white. The second thing that we do for those is we'll work alongside them, right? So as an example, the VP of Ops that we hired 4 months ago, I'm transitioning all the systems and processes over to her. I've told her, if you are unclear about something in this, I want you to reach out to me. We're going to align on what that looks like and what my expectations are. And once you feel comfortable with that, I will let you fully handle that. But until then, I'm here for any questions around those things.
You're making me think you really got to go back to the S. I mean, you have to live and breathe, just like with the values. I think it was Dr. Raj that told me last time he was on, he said, we have a team rule that if someone goes to you directly, instead of checking the SOP first, you send them back to the SOP.
Yep.
And that's living it. That's like, you're forced to go through it. And sometimes maybe that's annoying for people.
Yeah.
But it also ensures, and then to your point, if there's something missing in there, and I try to do the same thing, I'm like, let's make sure it gets in the SOP so that next time it comes up, it's there.
Yes. Yeah. I completely agree with that. I think, I've gotten to a point where I will not answer the question if I know it's in the SOP. I'm like, I want you to go back because what I don't want is lazy people on my team.
Yeah.
Who expect me to drop everything and answer their questions. So I'm training them. And then if someone continuously does it, I'm like, they're probably not the right person for this team.
That's right. And you do got to be able to read the gray because, I mean, AI is going to kind of do the black and white stuff the more and more it advances. Like if you're someone that like needs to be told what to do and then check it and then put it in place, it's like if you're just if that's your process, AI is going to kind of take that over pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
The human judgment and the gray area and the deciding which is good, which is not, that's really where we come into play.
Yes.
Speaking of AI, how do you see AI impacting your industry, the dental industry?
There have been so many changes in probably the last 5 or 6 years that I'm very, very excited about. We already have AI on our x-rays. We have AI on our phone systems. We can monitor calls. I think what's going to happen over time is AI is going to complement people. I'm not going to necessarily say it'll replace people, but it's going to complement them where it'll make their jobs easier and they're not having to spend as much brain power on silly little tasks.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to end up being more efficient as an industry. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's not like it's probably a while until humanoid robotics like going in your mouth and stuff, right? Do you think
there's a company I'm talking to.
Is that right?
Next week. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Not a dentist, but it's not a dentist robot, but
like a hygienist or assistant or something like that?
Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was like, if you can scan your mouth and kind of do the cleaning or whatever it might be, those would be some of the, maybe the, I don't want to say lower level tasks, but some of the lower hanging fruit tasks, right?
Yeah. And I think it's traditionally, hygiene has been very, very tough recently. Since COVID, actually, a lot of hygienists retired and, a lot of people it's not replenishing. So just from the perspective of patient care and being able to take care of people, we do need more solutions.
While we're on dentistry stuff, what are some common misconceptions people have about their teeth? Like whether it's toothpaste, I hear fluoride. I heard fluoride's good, it's bad. Nanohydroxyapatite, you need to have that. I hear teeth whitening,
Yeah.
Are there any just things you hear and you're like, that's crazy, that's not true?
Yeah. One is that you don't need to treat a cavity on a baby tooth because it's going to fall out anyway. The truth is that the baby tooth, the cavity can affect the adult tooth and also infect and cause, a lot of pain to the child, which can lead to other issues. Yeah. So always look at your baby teeth and yes, it'll be replaced, but it depends on when.
Interesting.
Another one is that sodas or sparkling waters are totally fine for your teeth.
Oh, I drink a lot of sparkling water. Don't break my heart with this.
I'm
actually glad you brought that up because I had someone tell me about that. They're like, how many of those do you drink a day? And I was like, 8.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It's acidic. So it is going to affect your teeth over time. Absolutely. So what would it do? It's going to erode the enamel.
Shit.
Over time, I know.
Well, I guess also, I've been drinking them for maybe the last couple of years. So I guess if I stop now.
You don't necessarily have to stop, but what I would say is limit it.
How many a day would you say then?
I would, the way that it works is the more number of times your teeth are exposed, the worse it is. So instead of 8, like sipping 2 all day and kind of swishing your mouth is probably worse than drinking 8 quicker. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yep.
So that, but obviously what makes that worse is if it was a pop with sugar.
Correct.
Or soda with sugar.
Sugar's going to be worse for sure. Right.
If you eat something sugary, should you rinse your mouth out or what?
Yeah, you should definitely. I would recommend rinsing your mouth out. If you are going to have something acidic with sugar, wait 20 minutes. So orange juice, anything like that, you have to wait at least 20 minutes and then you can brush your teeth.
Interesting. Do you ever miss talking about that stuff or not really? You're like, I'm in the entrepreneurial world. I don't even want to mess with that stuff anymore.
I am enjoying the business side so much right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
You're having fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else we missed on the process or system side? Anything else that's maybe is out there that you guys do other than really living the SOPs and making sure everything goes through there? Is there anything else that you guys do on the workflow or system side of things? Maybe it's something with AI that's cool that other people can learn from.
Nothing that comes to mind in particular, to be honest. But the one thing we do is we ensure that every practice runs the same. That's the easiest way to do it.
It's like McDonald's.
Exactly. All the systems and processes are the same. I know there are groups out there where they all kind of run a little differently. They're on different practice management softwares, or one might have paper charts and one has, practice management system. And for us, it's just, if I take a dental assistant from this practice and have them go work in this practice, it should be the same. They shouldn't be confused about what's happening.
Similar experience no matter where you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Anushka, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. This has been a great conversation. I know our audience enjoyed it. Where can people find, and discover you guys?
So you can find me on Instagram, Dr._ontoothpreneur.
Cool.
Or LinkedIn.
Cool. And then we'll link the website and stuff like that. Thanks again for being here. Thank you guys for watching, listening, subscribing, liking. We appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.